Okay, it's recording.
Cool. Thank you.
You're
Awesome.
welcome.
So I just want to know, what are you preparing for, like in terms of a meeting? She laid it out as it was a second meeting with Chris, the CIO of Eskridge. So
Mhm.
just kind of explain to me like what the goal is, and then I'll kind of coach through some of the like sales tactics and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I think the goal is, sorry, St. Patrick's Day, so there's a lot of
You're good.
honking.
You're good.
The goal is definitely to come back to whatever questions need to be clarified,
Yep.
bring in more information of the product's value,
Okay.
and to close. That's
Right.
the real goal of the second meeting is clarification and closing.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. And in this meeting, we're definitely going to want to use integrative sales tactics. I don't know what you know about integrative thus far, but basically we are trying to create more value. We're not trying to, just get a price point and be done. We want to try to work together to create more value. And that's kind of the point of an integrative sales negotiation. So it's ideas that best serve both parties. We want to understand each other's interests and find commonalities and kind of create a win-win situation.
Mhm.
So some kind of synonyms of integrative would be like expanding the pie, right? You have 100% of the pie. We want to create 120% in order to, best value both of us. We want to collaborate, and we want it to be an interest-based negotiation. So does that all kind of make sense as a rough background and introduction of it?
Yeah.
Cool. Sounds good. So kind of a couple of examples I have that, might help understand it as well. So in the lecture that Dr. Zeiss provided for us, there was a woman, Cyndia, who she worked a deal with watermelon growers to add stickers to all of the melons. And this was an integrative negotiation because she did this in the fresh produce aisle. And this had never been on packaged fruit before. So it resulted in the watermelons being recognized as a brand name.
Mhm.
And Cyndia also gained visibility because of the stickers. So it kind of created a win-win situation for both. And then another example we have is Pastor Tom. He worked integratively with a high-end fashion retailer, and he donated clothes to battered women's shelter. So this added value for himself. As well as the fashion companies versus just like asking for money. He added value by making the donation of the clothes. So does that all kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool, awesome. And then within an integrative negotiation, you want to separate the people from the problems.
Mhm.
So you don't want to, let your emotions get in the way. You want it to be strictly about, the issues at hand. So after you separate the people from the problems, you want to react to the problem. And then you want to create a long list of options for resolving each issue. And then after there, you can soft bundle. And soft bundling means discussing brainstormed ideas in a conditional way. So you really just want to individualize each issue and just, brainstorm everything and then discuss it from there. And then you want to choose criteria for ranking the options and then adjust the criteria if needed. And then you want to narrow the options down to 2 or 3 for each issue. And then you pick an option as a resolution for each issue. So does that kind of make sense in terms of how we want to negotiate?
Yes. Pick
Okay.
two and then let them help you pick between the two that you've narrowed it down to.
Right. Do you have any questions for me in terms of like integrative?
Not really. I think you're doing a really straightforward job explaining it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So again, with this negotiation, it should be very open and flexible. It's not, we don't want either of us to, just be like, I want $100,000 and that's it. It needs to be open and flexible and just kind of bring everything to the table, from that standpoint. So, distributive negotiation is more just the straightforward, like I want it for this price, or integrative negotiation is working together, for kind of that best possible solutions. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I have on integrative. Do you want to try to come up with like an example of like what an integrative negotiation would be, kind of in real time?
Yeah. Okay. Are you gonna give me the prompt of the problem, or do you want me to just set the whole
You
scenario?
can just go ahead and set the scenario. Yeah, I mean, like, just, yeah, like
Okay.
selling a pen or just whatever you feel like doing.
Well, I'll just
Take
stick
your
to
time.
I'll stick to
Yeah,
the gardener situation.
sure.
So a lot of the objection that I hear is um, based to do with like their time spent on research.
Sure.
And so usually after I present the quality and the value of our research with Gardner, the response is always, oh, I can go get this online. So
Right.
I think combating that by saying, okay, well, let's look into how much time you're spending doing these things and
Sure.
attaching a monetary amount of hours and what that translates into their value of the time they're spending doing this, and so how much
Yeah.
money they could be saving by taking on a contract with Gardner. And so just walking them through that process and then saying, okay, so if you're spending this amount of time, this is how much money you're wasting on research when you could obtain it through this contract. What would you do with that amount of money? So I don't know if that's exactly saying, because I mean, that's one way to tackle it, but I don't really
Right.
know how to give another option.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, it kind of, seems like the right approach. I mean, so sounds good. So, yeah, I think we're pretty much good here if you don't have any more questions. So you can just end the recording and then, let's go from
Yeah.
there.